one of the first questions that we were asking ourselves when we started this company is, because we're music fans and really kind of looking for this deeper, more meaningful experience in and around music, we were asking ourselves, like, what if there are more people like us? What if there are people that want to connect and sort of be in community with other people that are just passionate about music? And what does it look like to build a platform or build a way for those people to find one another and kind of go on this journey with us together? So, I think at the end of the day, community is not just one or two things. It's actually inside of everything that you do. And it's really about building those relationships and building that dialogue and continue to reinforce the values of the company and the product and everything that encapsulates the two.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow? What do you use to connect the employees to their work? One of the core elements of that is the mission. And I believe mission is important to every business. When you have a mission, you are aligning people to something bigger than just the work. They are doing it not just because they're getting paid for it, but they're doing it because they're part of something that they love to be a part of. When you, as a founder of a company or a CEO, have a mission, you make it part of the everyday. You can create higher retention rates of employees. You can create more engagement, and they're activated their creativity and innovation across many levels. Mission is important to every business. Today, our guest is co-founder of Vinyl Me Please. It is Matt Fiedler. This company grew astronomically fast. They were number 342 on the 2018 Inc. list. They hit it again in 2019. But one of the things that we talk about inside this interview was when he grew really fast, they were really mission-centric, but they had gotten away from it. So they didn't grow quite as fast. So they spent the last 6 months realigning to the mission, making it much more essential part of the business. What you would learn today is about why mission is important and how you can use mission to align the people to the work. Before we get to the interview, I want to remind you, if you haven't had a chance to look at the new training that we have coming out, it's all about how to create A players even in a down recession. If you want to get that training, you can go directly to genehammett.com/training. What you'll find in there is the 3 mistakes that are fixable that you can actually use to improve your leadership, your business. We've been looking at this for years. And we finally have it organized so that you can actually take it in about 30 minutes or less, and you can get insight to grow your business. Just go to genehammett.com/training. Now here's the interview with Matt. Matt, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Fantastic. Excited to talk to you about growth, leadership, and culture that you've learned over the years and how to align people together. I'd love for you to share us a little bit about Vinyl Me Please.
Yeah. So VMP at its core, our mission is exploring music together, and it's really built on this belief that music has value, both monetary value, but it also has the opportunity to impact a person in a meaningful way. With music comes such great emotion, and it comes such great meaning and understanding that music continues to be one of the most powerful art forms. And what we see with technology and as our world is becoming more and more technological, it's really asking us to trade these human and analog experiences for digital convenience. So our mission is really about creating these transcendent and tangible experiences that help facilitate journeys through music.
And more succinctly, it's a vinyl membership program. Did you say 50,000 vinyls per month?
Yeah, so we ship about 50,000 units per month, and our core business is really made up of about 3 different components. The first is subscription, which is a record of the month model. You get 1 record per month that's pressed exclusively for our members. And then that makes up about 60% of our total business. The other part is more e-commerce driven, where you, as a member, you can log in and buy things that will be added to your next shipment, or even as a non-member, you can log in and buy things from our store. And that makes up about 30% of our total business. And then the other piece is something called the Anthology, which is this really immersive, amazing product that we kind of bundle a set of records together and tell a story in a meaningful and in-depth way with a lot of editorial and additional content to go deeper on a specific subject. And that makes up about 10% of our total business right now.
Well, I appreciate you walking us through that. One of the things that we focus on is the leadership and culture elements that make companies grow fast. You were over 12 million in 2019. In 2018, you had a really breakout year. You were number 342 on the Inc. list. That's a pretty big honor to grow that fast. What do you attribute that to?
It's a great question. I think it's funny too, because the idea of a record club has been tried and quite frankly has failed many times before. Columbia Music House is a thing that we constantly get referred to in various conversations. I think the thing that set us apart is really kind of the way in which we approach it, which is very mission centric, which is kind of what we'll be talking about today. But we've approached this idea of a record of the month club with a certain amount of authenticity and passion for the process and the journey of exploring music and wanting to build a community and a conversation in and around that. And it just hasn't been done before. And I think what we're seeing is people, one, want that kind of experience. They're kind of missing that, particularly in this digital revolution as streaming kind of takes over as the dominant format. But two, they really do see value in kind of building this collection of music and really do see value in connecting with other people in and around music. So, it's hard to say exactly. I'd like to think a lot of our tactics and strategies are helping us be effective. But I think at the end of the day, really being able to lead with that mission and having that authenticity for the passion of music is what has become the beacon that has drawn a lot of customers to our business.
You're right. We are going to talk more deeply about this mission and why it's so important for the company as you grow. You mentioned the word community, though. How are you taking community? I know a lot of companies think about, oh, we'd love to have this community around what we're offering, our ideas and the movement that we have. How have you been able to do that successfully?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it's one of those things that we're still trying to figure out, and it's a really interesting problem to solve for like a digitally native company. Is how do you create community? And we're shipping records to 40 some countries around the world, so it even becomes more difficult of like how do you create community when you have language barriers, when you have cultural barriers, even with time zone differences as well. So we've done a bunch of different things to build community over time. And some we've continued, some we've stopped, some we're continuing to experiment with and in different ways. But at the end of the day, what we're trying to do in any format, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook, whether it's our emails, whether it's even our customer support channels, is we're trying to build a dialogue and build a relationship with our customers. And that could be one-off, but it could also be kind of giving them an opportunity to connect with other like-minded individuals. One of the first questions that we were asking ourselves when we started this company is, because we're music fans and really kind of looking for this deeper, more meaningful experience in and around music, we were asking ourselves, like, what if there are more people like us? What if there are people that want to connect and sort of be in community with other people that are just passionate about music? And what does it look like to build a platform or build a way for those people to find one another and kind of go on this journey with us together? So I think at the end of the day, community is not just one or two things. It's actually inside of everything that you do, and it's really about building those relationships and building that dialogue and continue to reinforce the values of the company and the product and everything that encapsulates the two.
Well, let's dive into this whole mission-based business. I think a lot of leaders start out their business with a mission, and something happens along the way. They get really focused on, the customer getting traction, started hitting certain metrics, and that mission begins to fade away. Why do you think mission fades away in so many companies?
Oh man, that's a really good question, and we fell into that trap too. Where we kind of got drunk on our own success and just assumed that we could keep doing what we were doing, very tactically speaking, and that would yield more results. But as we saw, that actually wasn't the case. Like I said, I think part of what made us successful in the early days that helped us have that breakout year on the Inc. 500 was the fact that we were leading with such genuine authenticity and passion for what we were doing. I think I don't know. It's just you get to a certain point where you've hit maybe more success or a level than you ever thought you could hit before. And then all of a sudden you start, the pressure comes on of like, well, what am I going to do next? What's that next trick up my sleeve? And you start thinking very tactically and very kind of almost objective minded of like, if I do this, then that will happen. Whereas I think what we've seen, particularly over the last 6 to 12 months, as we've returned to this mission-centric viewpoint, everything that we do gets bent around that idea, and then the impact of what we do ends up being much greater as a result. So in fact, we can do less things but they'll have a bigger impact on the business. And that's really been mind-boggling for us because as we thought about growth, I think it's really easy to make an assumption like the more that we do, the more things that we can put out, the more products that we have, the more customers that we have, the faster that we can grow. But I think in actuality, it's a little bit simpler than that, where it's like the better we can do things, the more clear that we can make things, the less friction that is in our processes, whether it's internal or from a customer perspective, the more opportunities that we have for growth, the more opportunities we have to bring more people in. And that comes from a place of mission. I don't know that that's always going to be obvious in sort of a tactical or even inside the objective mindset.
Hold on for a second. Matt said something I want to put a spotlight on. He said, we focused on the tactics, and what ended up happening was they got away from their mission. So sometimes you have to focus on tactics, but sometimes you actually have to focus on other elements of the business. You have to look at the mission. You have to look at the values, how you're engaging each other as a community, the culture. All of those elements are just as important as the tactics and the metrics that drive your growth. You may want to disagree with this, but I want you to really think about how much attention do you put to how your people align together to the work that you're doing, how you communicate, how you create trust, how you create empowerment, and how you get people to own it. I wanted to bring this message to you because I don't want you to focus on the tactics as a leader. I want you to focus on all of the elements that drive growth. Back to Matt. Matt, I'd love for you to share maybe an example of something about doing less that has paid off for you guys.
Yeah, for sure. So we, let me think off the top of my head. So inside of our e-commerce, we originally thought that more SKUs would make more opportunities for us to bring in more people and then increase our revenue. The production process for vinyl is pretty long. It's a 3 to 6 month timeline. Most of the stuff that we sell is exclusively pressed for our customers, which means we're managing that process from soup to nuts. So if you can think about kind of just a supply chain process, we're selling, I don't know, call it 30 different SKUs on a given month right now. It basically means we have 30 different SKUs that are all going through this 3 to 6 month production timeline process. That's where we are now. Where we were previously was thinking that like, okay, well, more SKUs, more people, more opportunities to generate revenue. So what we were doing at that point is we had a very limited set of things that were exclusive to us that we were manufacturing. And we actually brought in a lot of other products from different distributors or different labels or different sources that were not actually our products. And we were selling those things to our customers as well. And it actually created a lot of complexity because we all of a sudden had a significant number of people that we were receiving inventory from of varying degrees of quality. And then also we were dealing with a lot of middlemen. So the opportunity to create margin there was pretty slim. And then inevitably we were competing against somebody like Amazon or the local record store or whatever it might be. And we were actually devaluing the products that were making us unique, i.e. those exclusive products, right? So there was this idea that if we could build our SKU library, if we could build the number of things that we're selling on a given basis, we can bring in more customers, generate more revenue. But as we started to crack that open, after we had been doing it for 3 or 6 months or whatever, we started to realize like, one, that's not true because of all of these things. We have to discount the products that we're really proud of, the things that we're really unique to us, and the things that make our value propositions even stronger. Two, we were creating a lot of confusion from our customers because inevitably they were looking at us and then comparing us against these other channels. And then three, we were actually, from a marketing perspective, is really difficult because we couldn't really create the campaigns to bring in different people based on all of the records that we had available. So we actually simplified our SKU library quite dramatically to where we limited it only to exclusive products, only things that we're manufacturing. We increased the number of products that we're doing that for. We went from 5 to 10 a month to about 20 to 30 a month, but that's all that we release on a monthly basis. And that's actually helped us increase our e-commerce revenue quite substantially. It grew about 50% year over year last year, and it's on track to do that again this year. And then also our margin has gone from mid 20% on average to about 55-60% on average. So, and it's simplified our marketing quite a bit as well, because now we're able to say, look at this journey that we're on. This is who we are. This is what we care about. These are the things that we're focused on. Come join us, as opposed to a million different campaigns that say, go here, buy this, go here, buy this, go here, buy this. Oh, and you could probably get it cheaper and faster from other sources. So we just hope that you'll come and transact with us. So what that's actually done is it's simplified our operations quite substantially. It's also simplified the message that we bring to our customers and has had meaningful impacts, not just in revenue and margin, but also in retention and customer acquisition as a result as well.
That was a mouthful, Matt.
Yeah, sorry.
It's a beautiful story of, less actually is more and better for not only the company, but for the customer experience, and you're able to activate new growth. One of the things I took away from that is you're not in the transaction business, even though you are taking in money.
Yeah.
People are joining a movement, right? They're
Yep.
joining something that's already a part of their soul, and they're able to be a part of this community with others. And I think that exclusive thing is a really unique way to put that. And you're not in competition with, Amazon for that one little piece of vinyl.
Yeah, yeah, and it's given us the opportunity to double down in areas that we know create value for our customers, like quality. We sell the highest quality records on the market right now, and that's the thing that our people care about. And it gives us the opportunity to drive margin. It gives us the opportunity to generate sales without having to do as many projects at the end of the day.
I want to take us into a direction where maybe the listener can kind of cue into some of the things that you're doing to put mission on the front side of culture and how you engage with others. What would you say that you do consistently that makes mission a part of the everyday?
Yeah, I mean, I think internally, so we're constantly trying to look at the things that we do in and around the music, or in and around the mission. Excuse me. So thinking about, from a marketing perspective, it's like, well, what does it mean to explore music together? How do we actually translate that into an advertisement? Like what's the photo, what's the copy that goes with it? What's the creative that goes with it? And how does that actually relate to what we're saying on the landing page? Or how does that actually kind of get reinforced in the emails that we might send post transaction or what have you? And it's been really interesting, as we've transitioned to a fully remote environment, with regards to COVID and everything. Previously, our team was working in silos in pretty obvious ways, where the marketing team was kind of building their campaigns, the product team was kind of building their features, the operations and logistics team was doing what they were doing. None of them were really talking together, although they were in the same room together. So as we started to refocus ourselves around mission, it really did force this conversation of like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And how does it all connect? And then there's opportunities to create overlap. There's opportunities to deprioritize certain things, and really kind of the things that do become important that can have a meaningful impact inevitably come to the surface there. And those are the things that we sink our teeth into. So that's operationally, that's really what we focus on inside of the everyday. Externally, it's really about storytelling, and it's really about saying that, like, hey, this music is not a commodity. It's not a thing that's just something to buy. It's actually something to know. And it's actually, there's a lot more behind a particular record than you might guess. It's a lot more than just what the song is, or what the artist is, or what the album is, or even what the album art is or looks like, or whatever. There's a lot of context that you may or may not be aware of that ultimately led to the creation of that music. So we try and focus a lot on the storytelling, and that really kind of helps create that idea of exploration, and that idea of facilitating a journey for people, because so much about music is the context, right? And so much about discovering something new that you haven't heard before and it becoming your new favorite thing is going to be the way in which you discovered it and sort of the story behind it.
Hold on for a second. Did you hear what Matt said about the silos inside the company? Before COVID came about, they were individually looking at marketing and sales and operations and service. And what he found through this was they had to back up a second. They had to focus on how they align together as a team. If you're concerned about your team alignment, make sure you get the newest training we have. It's genehammett.com/training. You will find the 3 mistakes. One of them inside there is about team alignment, and you will see a different perspective just by tuning in to that training. Go to genehammett.com/training. Now back to the interview with Matt. So how important do you think mission is to other businesses? You probably see this a lot. You see companies that are in more transactional based and don't have that mission. When you look out to others, are you looking at what that mission is and seeing what they stand for?
Yeah, I am that kind of person. So I'm always thinking about, like, oh, what drew this person to start this company? I'm just a firm believer that, success in life or in business or whatever is so much more than just generating revenue and kind of growing sales and increase enterprise value. Like there's always something that's driving somebody to want to do more. And I'm always curious as to what that is. It could be a very simple trinket based business, but I'm just like, well, what was the impetus behind starting that? Like, was it just an opportunity and they're just in it to make money? It's like, okay, well then what's the drive to make more money? I don't know. And thinking about that is something that just comes naturally to me. And I think mission is really important to every business, regardless of the context, regardless of what you're selling, regardless of who your customers are, or even what your employees look like. Because I think what it does, the real value of a mission is it gives somebody something else to care about, and it really does help create something that's more than just a transaction, and I think when you think about employees, when you think about employee satisfaction or turnover rate or keeping your best people, like oftentimes you have to give them something to care about that isn't just doing the job or getting the task done, and that could be as simple as like, we want to create a place where you have a healthy work-life balance so that you can go home and do other things that keep you sane and kind of help you kind of pursue your passion and whatnot. That could be a way that mission kind of comes up inside of a business. It doesn't have to be totally emotional like ours is. It doesn't have to be kind of this big grandiose idea that is hard to understand or whatever. I think in fact the simpler the better, and the more opportunities you can connect it to people, whoever they may be, the better your business is going to be as a result.
Let me break in here for a second. If you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure you give us a thumbs up if you like this content. Make sure you subscribe if you want to keep getting the content, and hit the bell notification button if you want to be notified the moment we put another video up. We'd love to help you be the best leader you can be, help you go beyond where you are today. Back to the interview. I love the words you said. Mission is important to every business, and so true. That's one reason why I wanted to have you here, Matt. I want to give you one last chance to kind of weigh in on what other elements within Vinyl Me Please do you think really contribute to the growth of the business?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. I think so this authenticity, this passion, this credibility that we've been able to build as a result has given us that growth that we've seen from a customer perspective. It's made us one of the largest vinyl retailers in the world, which from a buying power perspective is pretty significant. For one of our subscriptions, we're buying 25,000 units of a single record. There's really no retailer that's doing that, and very few artists are pressing that many units of a single record. So that in and of itself has opened up tremendous opportunities for us to be able to work with artists, to be able to work with labels or distributors in ways that nobody else has the access for. And that's given the opportunity for us to work with artists like Queen. It's given us the opportunity to work with artists like the Grateful Dead, and just continually finding these new opportunities that we're just amazed by. Like some of these things that come across my desk, I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe we're talking to this person about doing these things. Like, this is insane. I never would have guessed. But yet it's because of our buying power. It's because of the fact that we've been able to grow and that we provide such a meaningful, we provide such value to our partners on the other side. And that really becomes a thing that has just opened up a tremendous amount of doors for us as a business.
Matt, thank you so much for sharing your story and the importance that mission has on your business, so that we can all learn from those lessons and your wisdom.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was great.
What a powerful interview to talk about mission. I would like to take this moment to talk about the mission I had when I first started this business. And I want to go way back to a time when I wasn't really a coach. I wanted to be a coach, but I wasn't one. I was an entrepreneur. I was probably much like you, had a team of people, had daily revenue goals, had a lot of projects going on and customers going on at one time. And I had to really focus on the most important elements, which was keeping the bills paid, keeping the cash flow coming in. And I wasn't able to do the work I really wanted to do. What eventually happened was I lost everything. Not because I was so focused on this other thing. There's so many other reasons behind it. But the core of this is I lost everything and had to look back. And losing my identity as an entrepreneur and as a founder, I had to reinvent myself. And I wanted to reinvent myself to help other leaders go beyond what they believe is possible. So I work exclusively with successful leaders and their teams to help them go beyond where they are today, to go beyond the normal growth patterns that they see right in front of them. I, as an outsider and a lot of perspective, and a lot of insight can help them create strategies, create more mindset shifts that allow them to grow even faster. I share all this with you because I wanted you to understand my mission. It comes from a place of losing everything and looking back to what was missing. I wanted you to know this about my mission because I care about you as a founder, your team, your growth. Growth is opportunity. If you have any questions about that, I'd love for you to reach out to me. Send me an email, gene@genehammett.com. That way we can connect, maybe get to know each other. We'll help you be the leader that you want to be. When you think about growth, you think about leadership, think about Growth Think Tank. As always, lead with courage. We'll see you next time.